So Mario Maker 2 for Nintendo Switch is just a couple of months away from being released, and at first glance it looks like the sequel will add many new and awesome things that aren't in the first game. Custom auto-scrolling, fire bros, two-state blocks, snake blocks and slopes are just a couple of examples of all the new and amazing tools the second Mario Maker is going to add. But are those really additions? Are those really new features? Or is most of the new stuff already very much possible in the first version of the game? So today we're going to investigate this eternal question. We're going to try to perfectly recreate 7 of the many new features showcased in the Mario Maker 2 trailer. And we will finally find out how much of the new stuff is actually new. So you ready? Let's do this! So let's start by recreating the little evil fire bro that decided to hide in the top right corner of the trailer. So here is our first recreation. Awesome, isn't it? There is barely any difference between the trailer fire bro and our fire bro. Simply astonishing. No, I'm obviously kidding, that's no fire bro, that's just a piranha plant on top of a muncher. While this contraption throws up fire like a real fire bro would, it lacks one of the defining characteristics of a fire bro. It doesn't awkwardly jump annoyingly randomly around. So let's fix this. Here we have a real fire bro. This time we once again use a piranha plant on top of a muncher to capture the essence of a dumb fire bro. But this piranha plant muncher team is sitting on top of a contraption that makes it jump into the air after a random amount of time passed. And our recreation is just as awkward, annoying and random as a real fire bro. Hooray! The contraption that makes our totally a real fire bro jump randomly into the air should be pretty self-explanatory. Basically, we have one bullet blaster on each side that shoots out highly motivated shells. There is a block on tracks that blocks the blasters from shooting periodically. Since when blasters shoot is slightly randomized, Mario never knows when the fire bro is about to jump. If a shell actually makes it out of the blaster, then it hits this little jumping device, which, as the name suggests, makes the fire bro jump into the air and afterwards falls into a pit, so that the blaster is able to shoot again. Next, let's recreate something easy, the snake blocks. So here Mario finds himself in a dangerous, overgrown tower. There are once again evil creatures spitting fire towards a heroic plumber on an important mission. But this time the plants don't jump randomly around. Instead, the challenge here comes from riding this snake platform towards the graceful exit door. So our snake block recreation contraption here works, well, because that's just how tracks work. That one was easy. Let's do something more difficult next. Let's do slopes. Here we have a classic Mario level setup featuring everything that should be here. There is a Goomba, there are semi-solid platforms, and of course there is a sloped surface. But this sloped surface is actually not just an ordinary slope, because this slope is superior to normal, boring slopes. First, it is not possible to accidentally slide down like it is on normal slopes, which is definitely a huge plus. Second, using this slope doesn't count towards the very limited block limit, but counts towards the enemy limit instead, which means we are free to place much more normal ground blocks in a stage. And third, and most importantly, this slope is actually able to retreat and to become a flat surface again. All that Mario has to do in order to terraform the slope flat again is to hit a P-switch and hooray! The slope is gone and the exit door becomes accessible. So how did this work? Well, it's actually surprisingly simple. All we do here is making use of the fact that Koopas and Spinies have different heights. That's the whole trick. The way we get the slope flat again is by using coins. There are coins hidden behind each and every enemy, which, as soon as we activate a P-switch, transform into solid blocks and kill all the enemies in front of them. All the enemies but this Koopa apparently. Turns out I forgot to place a coin behind this little turtle. Looks like it's your lucky day, buddy. Anyway, let's try to recreate the custom auto-scrolling feature. We actually don't know exactly how the custom auto-scrolling is going to work in the sequel, but judging by the trailer, it appears as if we're going to be able to speed up the auto-scrolling at custom points and to change its direction, maybe even reverse it. Sounds doable. So here our plumber becomes entrapped between two bullet blasters that constantly scroll forwards. This alone wouldn't be too bad if it wasn't for the ouching saw blades along the way that that try to ruin his day. After a while, the autoscroller first speeds up and travels faster, and shortly afterwards it even changes direction. Luckily, this door opens up on the way back, because otherwise Mario definitely would have gotten crushed here. Hooray! Okay, so most of the stuff here is pretty simple. This is how we get the two blasters onto the shells. This little spring is how we speed them up, and this small contraption is how we make them change direction. Once a shell travels over this node block, the node block gets activated, which pushes this shell a bit to the left, which pushes it into the spring, which activates the P-switch. This transforms the coins into brick blocks the second before both shells reach them, which obviously forces them to change direction. If someone of you wonderful ladies and gentlemen wants to build a stage around this concept, there is just one thing to keep in mind. If the shell blaster duo runs into a brick block and there is no one-way door to stop the blaster, then the blaster drops off of the shell. Setting this up for the blaster on the right side is obviously no problem, but for this to work with the left blaster, the two bullet bills need to have different heights, so that the first blaster is able to travel past the first one-way door, while the other one gets stopped by it. Next up, let's take a look at two-state blocks. So recreating two-state blocks is something I've been actually trying to do for years. Some form of a contraption where we can move something around every time we interact with a block. As it turns out, that's surprisingly difficult to do in Mario Maker, and I'm really happy to announce that we finally found a way to do it. So let's take a look. Those two bullet blasters here are two-state blocks. They are either both on the right side or they are both on the left here. The way we change their position is by simply triggering this node block. If we run over it, the blasters immediately are transported to the left. The next time we trigger the node block, the contraption at the bottom activates again and transports the blasters back to the original position. The cool thing here is that we can repeat this over and over again. That's a really small, cheap, fast working and easily read and writable binary storage cell. And best of all, the way it works is actually surprisingly simple. So first we use a small but incredibly useful glitch to transport the shellmet down. As soon as Mario touches the node block, the shell just glitches through the blaster. The spring is here because it prevents the blaster from shooting to the left. And this is what the shell does at the bottom. It just picks up and resettles this Muncher Bullet Blaster team, while the shellmet leaves the area to the left and drops into lava. The next time the shell drops into this area, the path to the left is blocked by the Muncher. Because of this, the shell becomes entrapped between those two one-way doors and constantly moves the Muncher to the right. Right before the Muncher is back at its original position, the space above the shellmet is free again, which means it picks the Muncher up and carries it home, before it dies a gruesome death in the lava. That's the whole trick. Okay, so we still have to add a new entry onto our dangerous list of evil today. But before we do this, let's first try to recreate rising liquids. So the trailer showed us this shot of a stage in the Super Mario World jungle theme featuring rising water. So here's the bad news. It's currently not possible to recreate rising water in Super Mario Maker. But I've got some good news too. We're still able to recreate rising lava. Here Mario finds himself in a small loading contraption that, once finished, drops him into the middle of this area. Now our plumber is entrapped in a room with rising lava bubble tides. His only chance to ever escape this hot trap is to wall jump like never before and to make his way to the very right side of the room. Because at the very right side, a key is stranded that wants to get reunited with the door back at the beginning. If Mario manages to grant the key its wish, the key rewards him by unlocking the door, which allows our plumber to escape this room. Hooray! So here we created lava waves, but if we actually wanted to have lava that rises and sinks at a constant pace, then we can have that even easier. All that we need to do is to use synced fire bars. And finally, let's add a new entry onto our dangerous list of evil. So in the Mario Maker trailer, we can see a couple of levels that have a coin requirement in the top right corner. We don't know exactly how this is going to work in the game, but my best guess at the moment is that it's possible to create a stage that can only be completed if Mario collects all the coins that are hidden within it. Something that we are actually able to create in Mario Maker right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's add a new entry onto our dangerous list of evil. Let's take a look at Don't Forget a Single Coin levels. So here we have a pretty boring, normal stage. There really isn't anything out of the ordinary going on. We have a couple of coins, a couple of node blocks and a couple of dangerous lava bubbles on tracks. And that's it. So Mario decides to ignore the dangerous list of evil once again and seems not to care about collecting all the coins in this area. Silly Mario, you really should have learned your lesson by now. Because as soon as Mario walks through this door, he enters a marvelous machine. He enters a Ya touched all the coins Didia. The Ya touched all the coins Didia is a brilliant contraption built by the best Goomba engineers in the whole kingdom. Ya touched all the coins Didia is a machine that reliably tests whether Mario touched all the coins. But what exactly happens to Mario if he didn't pick up all the coins? Well, then his day is about to become a lot worse, because then the marvelous machine drops him directly into a saw blade. So back to the start. This time Mario is super careful to collect each and every silly coin. So once Mario goes through the exit door, he's once again teleported into the Ya touched all the coins Didia. This time Mario actually collected all the coins, and because of this the machine transports him directly in front of the exit door. Hooray! Okay, so how did all of this work? Well, it's basically the same thing we did for the don't touch a single coin contraption, but in reverse. First, there is a bullet blaster placed on top of every coin. None of those blasters load as soon as we start the level, because they are all blocked by the brick blocks at the bottom. As soon as Mario walks through the door, he triggers one of the P-switches at the bottom, which transforms all the blocks that previously blocked the blasters into shiny coins. Now the room is reloaded, which means all the blasters get a second chance to spawn. The coins from before are now brick blocks, while the blocks are now coins. What that means is that if Mario forgot any coin in the level, then a blaster becomes unable to spawn again, because this coin is now a spawn blocking brick block. Okay, so Mario then travels in this oversized vehicle towards the right. If there is a bullet bill missing, then the vehicle drops down and Mario comes into contact with the saw blade once again. If all coins were collected, however, then all bullet blasters are able to load and the coin testing car drops down in this spot, conveniently placed directly in front of the exit door. That's the whole trick. The only thing to keep in mind when building something like this is that the P-switch signal needs to be extended after a while. We do this here with a vertical position testing node block setup, but there are tons of other ways to do this as well. Alright, so here we have it. Fire bros, snake blocks, slopes, custom auto-scrolling, two-state blocks, rising lava and coin collection requirements are all perfectly recreatable in the original Super Mario Maker. Nonetheless, I'm still very much looking forward to the second game. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and maybe feel especially like everything becomes a bro if we just make a jump randomly into the air, and one to hit the subscribe button as well. I hope that all of you have a wonderful day and to see you soon. Goodbye!